And DD India correspondent Ross Cullen joins us from Tel Aviv with the latest. Ross, simplify for us United States balancing act on the Gaza war, given the tricky relationship between the safe return of hostages and the ground invasion of the Israeli forces.
Yeah, as you heard Nick Harper there explaining from the United States, there is a lot of diplomacy going on with President Biden's call with other Western leaders on Sunday, and there now seems to be that pressure from the White House to the Israeli government to delay that invasion potentially. We know that there has been the agreement for a continued flow of critical assistance into Gaza, according to the White House, and so Israel is not going to be thwarting that flow of assistance. There have been two separate aid convoys so far on Saturday and on Sunday that have made it into the Gaza Strip, but just a drop in the ocean, nowhere near enough according to international aid agencies. If you think of the 20 trucks, and that would be roughly 100,000 people on each lorry, would be depending on each lorry. So there's hardly enough at the moment that is going into Gaza in terms of what the international aid agencies, the World Food Programme, the World Health Organization believe is necessary. But there certainly is that balancing act. We know that Joe Biden has been here in person, Antony Blinken has been here in person, Lloyd Austin has been here, so sending the President, the Secretary of State and the Secretary of State for Defense to meet the Israeli government for meetings has shown that backing by the United States for Israel.
And Ross, how complex is the operation in Gaza, fighting the Hamas forces and making sure aid supplies to the civilians? How complex is to do both together?
Yeah, potentially very complicated. If you imagine if a ground incursion were getting underway with infantry and Israeli tanks, and potentially the other way, aid lorries driving up from the Egyptian border trying to distribute assistance to different communities in the Gaza Strip, potentially very difficult situation. That is why the Israeli Air Forces have said they are trying to carry out as much as possible in terms of hitting Hamas targets from the air with airstrikes and bombing raids to try to clear as much as possible. They know that they have this stated aim of crushing and destroying Hamas. They want to wipe Hamas off the face of the earth, is another quotation we've heard from the Israeli Defense Forces. So they are determined to try to get rid of Hamas, either just through the air bombing campaign or also this widely expected ground incursion. But in terms of that and the aid the other way, and also bear in mind the hostages, which are also inside the Gaza Strip, there's a lot at play trying to secure the hostages' release. Israeli forces likely to go into Gaza to try to finish off their campaign against Hamas. There's continued flow of aid, and also that brings with it aid workers trying to work unhindered to distribute the assistance to then also the 2.3 million people living in Gaza. There have been evacuation orders. Some people have been able to move, other people have been sheltering in hospitals. It's a very complicated situation inside the Gaza Strip, and 4,600 people have now lost their lives since the start of the Israeli bombing campaign, which began itself, of course, in retaliation for the Hamas atrocities, which took the lives of 1,400 Israelis.
Ross, thanks very much for joining us with those updates. Do take all safety precautions as you report from the conflict zone.